Hi, Sheila with Creative Aging. We are going to do some more watercolor painting as well as some drawing. So you'll need your ultra fine point Sharpie. And if you want a pencil, you can use a pencil, but I'm just going to tell you to draw with the pen. And then that way, if you make a mistake, you're going to be forced to live with it and you can make that part of your design. So I think it's a good exercise to get out of your comfort zone. So I'm going to tell you not to use a pencil, but for some people, I know it's going to be upsetting, so you're going to want a pencil. And then, of course, you're going to need watercolor paper and a set of watercolor paints. And then I have a couple cups here just for if I want really clean water, I can switch without getting up and getting new water. So I have 2 cups of water and a paper towel for blotting. And we're going to start with the drawing. And I made this really simple just because I don't want that to be the focal point of this project. But of course, you can draw whatever you want. So we're just going to draw some abstract flower shapes on the page, and then we're gonna do a wash. So see that background color, this light, that's a lot of water and just a little bit of paint. So we're gonna do the whole thing in a wash after we draw. And so with the Sharpie, I want you to make sure to test it before you start drawing, because I know that if you've had these Sharpies for a little while, some people press too hard or they don't put the cap on all the way on, and so it might be dry, and I don't want you to start drawing with these if it's not working very well. So test these before you go on the page, and I already tested mine. So this is just going to be a simple drawing. I don't even want you to worry about straight lines or perfect circles, so I'm making it a little bit wild just to see, and then that way you won't be so obsessed with how you're drawing. Some people, they just want the perfect circle and perfect straight lines, and they get more focused on that than having fun and just seeing what happens. So this is just to help those perfectionist types, and I can say that because I'm one of them, so this is good for me too. And if you want to do another big one right over here, you can. And see, my pen is actually not working so well, even though I tested it. So I'm going to switch. I have a few backups here. And make sure you're using your ultra fine point Sharpie, because some of them are the thicker ones, and you do not want that at all. So I kind of, just for composition reasons, I'm doing one in each corner so that these are equally as heavy on the page. And then that way I can figure out where I want to place some small ones. And then let's do another one up here. And feel free to change the shape, do it however you want. I cannot believe it. Both of my pens are getting sad. I'm going to go over these lines at the end. So I just want a general outline right now. So I know these pens are looking sad, but I'm gonna go over it after the paint anyway. So I'm just gonna leave it, and I'm gonna do those 4. You could do another small one here if you want. Let's do that. Okay, so at this point, let's do the wash. We've just got an idea of what we're gonna do, and we can always add more lines. Now I chose the same color scheme on this. So I suggest you either pick warm or cool colors, because we're gonna paint over our wash and we're gonna keep painting, and I'd rather them blend together, and then that way you can just keep adding colors and not have to worry about mixing the wrong color and having a brown flower. So I want you to pick between, you know, purples, blues, and greens, or you can do red, oranges, yellows. So for the next one, I think I'm gonna go warm colors just to show you the difference. And we're gonna do the wash with a light color. And I might even do a light orange, really light orange. So you need a lot of water. Actually, I might even do a light pink. So a lot of water, little paint. And so don't worry about going over your lines. You're gonna paint over the whole thing. Because we're gonna add color on top of it. I just want it to have a good wash. And it doesn't matter if some of it's darker, some of it's lighter. We're gonna give it almost a tie-dye effect. And if you get too bright, you can always use more water and just paint on top of that and spread it around. And so this should not cover your black lines. You don't want it that dark. You want this to be very light. Just almost like a tinted color. Okay, and so this is pretty much covered. Now, and if you want to change directions of lines, you can kind of go up sometimes. I'm going to do that because I tend to paint straight a lot, and I'm just really going to get out of my comfort zone for this project. So I think it's going to be more interesting to go both directions. So just use this as kind of go up and down. We're gonna have this just be a little bit more messy than some of our other projects. This will get you to play with different brush strokes and okay. So now let's switch brushes, and we're gonna use this smaller brush. And now we're going to pick another color. I don't even have this planned out, so I'm kind of winging it. Let's do a red. So let's start doing some reds. So you do red and oranges or dark red. I'm just gonna get all of these kind of wet in case I wanna use all of them. And so because we're painting on the wet wash, it's gonna move around, and that's fine. So this really is gonna start looking like tie-dye. We haven't really done this before, so it's going to maybe get outside the lines, which is fine. And if you don't like it, then you can always use your paper towel and dot some of it away. And actually, you can use your paper towel to kind of dot some of the background away anyway. So let me just show you what that looks like. So if you want to use the paper towel as part of the painting, then, you know, you can blot, paint and then blot. And then if you want to add more color, if that's too light, then just paint over it again. So I'm using kind of a variation of the dark red and the light red right here. And I'm going to go over the two in a minute. And see, when you're painting, we're gonna go over these lines with the ink pen again, so you don't even have to stay in the lines. So this project is gonna be really good for just going with it, not feeling like so stressed out about being perfect in all these lines. Now with this project, we're using a lot more water than the last watercolor we did. So your paper will start curling and it might shed a little bit. And if that's the case, then just move on to a new flower and let that portion of the paper dry. So just give it a break here and there if it starts curling too much or shedding. Okay, now let's move to another flower. And we could try this yellow, kind of a yellow gold that's on your set. I'm going to bring in some bright yellow here in a minute, but I like this gold. So there's green, there's a little green in my set here, so I'm gonna clean that out. So you can just put some water and use your paper towel to dot whatever color you want out. This is the easiest way to clean it. So just move it around until you see the color you want. There we go. And now I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow, and I'm just gonna put it on top. And if your brush is too wet, the yellow needs to be brighter, so you're gonna need more yellow and a little less water. So you can always test it on your paper towel. You can just brighten it up a little bit in places if you want. You can even add some yellow into this red, make some oranges if you wanna try that. Okay, let's move on to one of these flowers. So you can do orange, or we could do purple. I'm gonna do this reddish orange down here. So I'm just filling it in with one color, and then I'm going to go back in, and if I want to use different colors, so if I wanted to use this lighter orange, I can do that to certain parts. Okay, so we're just playing with the colors and blending one color after another on top and just experimenting. And I don't think you need to watch me do this whole thing. So I'm going to go to another one and then explain how to do the pin part at the end. And then you'll see pictures of all the images. So you could work from the photos. And the photos and the details should be on the lesson plans on this link. So basically this part, you're just painting the inside of all your flowers. And it's going to take a while to get together. So see, like that red one? That looks pretty terrible. For sure. So you just have to figure out what to do next. And so let's add some bright orange and some of these and mix it and see what it looks like. So a lot of this is just trial and error. There's no exact way. We really are, it's almost like tie-dye painting. We're just layering one color after another to see what works and what doesn't. And if it doesn't work, then figure out how to make it work. So this project isn't necessarily, you know, the end result focused. So maybe this isn't something you're going to hang on the wall at the end. This is going to be more to just really force you to experiment and not overthink things so much, just to kind of play. It's important in art to just play and let your brain see things in a new way and to just relax. So just, you know, this is definitely a little different. It's a good exercise though, and this will help you with every art project we do. Part of art is just learning how to problem solve, and that alone will help you in every aspect of life. So, but to problem solve, you kind of have to get out of your comfort zone and figure out how to make things work in your favor. A lot of people get frustrated with art and they throw their paper away and they don't want to do it anymore. And this, you know, you just have to keep working on it and figuring out what makes it look good. So this flower's already looking better. I just decided to add orange on top of the reds. For some reason, the reds, they didn't dry that pretty. It happens sometimes, so you just figure out other colors to add to it. And then figure out what you want in the center. You could even do a purple. If you want real dark purple. Okay. So you could do the purple in all the centers, or you could switch it. All right, so I want you to finish painting all of these flowers until you like the colors. And remember, this is going to be all the warm colors. And then let's go back, because I know you understand the technique. So here's the one that I did with the cool colors. And so any mistakes you made, you can go over the outside lines. So once you have it done and dry, and like this one has purple and blues added into it, and then I painted outside the flowers, so I just added an extra line with the ink pen. Okay, so this is how you're gonna make it, kind of finish it at the end. So once you get all your flowers dry, take another look at it. So I started this same one. I actually already did this exact video. It got messed up, so I'm doing it again. So that's why I have this example. I figured I'd do a warm one. So this one's not finished either, but I started it. So see how the flowers have like extra lines around the outside? So let's do the same thing over here. This is how it looks if you don't want to do this step. But if you want to do that, it just adds an extra design element, and it really does cover up mistakes. So I want you to look here. If you can see it, the painting is just a little messy right in there. So this ink is going to cover that up. So we're just gonna add another line, and we're gonna go all the way around, and it's gonna look like you did all this on purpose. Just one extra line. And then that way you're not gonna stress out about painting perfectly in the line. We're just gonna make it work out for us. So just go around the whole thing. So right there, can you see right there, it's out of the line. It's not, looks a little messy. So this is gonna make it look like it's all done on purpose. It's part of the design. And some of the lines get really faded once we paint over it so many times, so this would be good to bring it back out anyways. And then if you want extra design, go ahead and do that on the inside. You could just do a few lines. So like this one, it has lots of extra lines in the center. And again, these lines aren't perfect, but they just create a little bit more movement in your flower. So I went to the center and I did a lot of little small lines. And then I let a few of them go and curve with the flower. So you don't want these lines to be straight. You want this to be really organic. And so it's, you know, there's nothing perfect about it, but I definitely let the lines go with the flower shape. So it kind of gives it a little bit of depth and movement. So just keep playing. Like once all of this is dry, take your pen back out and have fun and just keep creating lines and adding an extra layer of interest until you like what you see. And don't start this final pinpoint until you love your painting though. So if there's certain colors that you're not liking, add more color. So like this one, it started with just a light purple and I didn't really love it, so I added some darker purples and some blues. So, you know, you really play and keep blending until you think your flower's coming together the way you like it. So like this one, this is almost the same color as the background. It's just a hint lighter, a hint darker. It's just got a little blue added in that green. That one's got a lot of purple. Okay, so this will help you, you know, if you have time, you could do one in warm colors and then you could do a separate one in cool colors. You could even cut your sheet of paper in half. Now this is a full sheet. So if you wanted to do both, you could split your page in half, cut it in half, and then do your drawing a little smaller and do one with cool tones and one with warm. This will just help you with, you know, blending, understanding how colors layer on top of one another, and also just drawing in a whimsical way and not being so particular about your lines. And just figuring out, oh, there's a mistake, let's make it work for us. I hope you have fun. I hope you feel a little bit out of your comfort zone and that it's a little liberating for you. And I'll see you next time. Happy fall.